So I live in a very small Texas rural county called Kinney County in southwest Texas. And last week when I told a friend that I was coming up, she's 87, told her I was coming up to DC to talk about the border and the smuggling issue. And she said, will you tell them that your 87-year-old friend sleeps with a pistol under her pillow now? So that kind of encapsulates the change that's happened in the area where I live. So Kinney County is the red box there. Basically, it shares 16 miles of border with Mexico. It doesn't have a port of entry, but there's Del Rio on one side and Eagle Pass on the other side. And so that area has become one of the busiest for illegal crossings. But the unique thing about Kinney County is that it is a thoroughfare for the gotaways. So as the cartel pushes the large groups of families, draws Border Patrol resources to process those big groups, then the gotaways come around the sides. And they're trying to get to San Antonio, which is sort of their first big hub, which then they can distribute throughout the US. So the gotaways come through by foot on the local ranches, or they come on the sort of the back roads through Kinney County by vehicle. They're trying to avoid a Border Patrol highway checkpoint just southwest of Uvalde. And so a lot of the back roads come through Kinney County. So why are they trying to get away? Most of the time they're not caught. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they're from, where they're going. So the ones that do get caught give an insight into that population. Often they're previously deported. That's where your criminal population is. They would have no legal basis for getting into the United States, so they avoid law enforcement by any means necessary. So as Todd already said, the number of known gotaways that Border Patrol has recorded in the last 2 years is somewhere between 1.2 million, 1.5 million people. We don't know what we don't know. Border Patrol doesn't have eyes along the whole border, and so there's the unknown gotaway population, which is impossible to estimate. Last week, the Del Rio Sector Border Patrol Chief put out a tweet. He said that their agents had just apprehended 3 child sex predators within 48 hours, including a Salvadoran man convicted of child rape in Washington state, a Mexican man convicted of lewd acts with a child in Florida, and a Salvadoran man convicted of unlawful sex with a child in Utah. So the gotaway population does include criminals. They've committed crimes all over the states. They're not staying at the border. They're going everywhere. So let's see. So the people that are getting away, the ones that walk on the ranches, the private ranches, I just want to read you a couple of quotes from a couple of ranches that live on the border, and they see a lot of this traffic come through their property. A lot of them can't use their property as it's intended. This is from one rancher. I've personally lived here for the last 26 years, and what I have witnessed over the last 2 years has been completely insane. Safety has become a major concern. My wife, my kids, our employees, and myself wear a pistol everywhere we go on the ranch. We've been cussed at, threatened, had rocks and sticks thrown at us. Our dogs have been beaten on multiple occasions by illegal aliens. Every hunting camp I have has been vandalized. Our headquarters have been broken into. Over half of our highway gates have been run through. Most of my hunting blinds have been vandalized. One was set on fire and several used as bathrooms. So it's a daily occurrence for the ranchers down there. Another rancher, he talked about how in 2014, Border Patrol apprehended 37 illegal immigrants on his property. He now sees on his own cameras 10 miles in from the border at least 200 individuals a night coming through his property. He's had to hire, he's moved his family off the ranch. He's had to hire a full-time employee who spends 40 hours a week fixing fences and picking up trash. That's all he does. He talked a little bit about the financial loss, which is hard to estimate because they're just patching things up, mostly water-related, water troughs for the animals and the fences. He estimates he spent about $300,000 last year just patching things up. If he had to replace it all, it would be more than $800,000. So aside from the walkers, there's the smuggling in the vehicles, and I just want to show you a 2-minute video. It just kind of, I guess, encapsulates the issue a little bit. It's a draft intro of a documentary that I've got coming out soon.
We have no idea who they are. All we know is they went to the extra effort to make sure that they didn't get caught. You can safely assume that anybody that went through the extra effort to avoid U.S. Border Patrol was not an asylum seeker by default.
They're far from asylum seekers. But we're getting a little everything. We're catching sex offenders, murderers, people that have been deported for various heinous crimes.
Just get out of the vehicle and get behind me.
Throw the keys out the vehicle window! Throw the keys out! Tira las llaves!
No se muevan.
Give me a black Dodge pickup, 2500 at eastbound.
Bail out. Alright, they're gonna bail out. Going through, actually drove through the fence.
If somebody rapes and kills somebody, and we find out that they came through here on my watch, that's unacceptable.
So that's the county sheriff, and this is all in a very small county, 3,100 people, one main town of 1,800. So there's a lot of activity. As far as the vehicle smuggling, in 2020, the sheriff said that they arrested 169 smugglers, alleged smugglers. Last year, 2022, that number was 741. So everything's more than tripled. And the smugglers, it's a whole nother industry. The smugglers are being recruited on social media, mostly TikTok, WhatsApp, with promises of lots of cash. Smugglers have been coming down from Ohio, Washington State, Illinois. They'll fly down to San Antonio, rent a car, come to the border, pick up a carload, and come back. Smugglers from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida. Sheriff told me a couple of weeks ago they're now starting to see license plates from New York and New Jersey. Last year, in May, the deputies caught a 15-year-old kid smuggling. During the traffic stop, he tried to run over one of the deputies. They shot him multiple times. He survived. He was back in October. Sheriff said he still had holes in him. He was still healing. He was back in October picking up another load. So another smuggler was being chased by Texas state troopers. The driver started shooting at oncoming cars in the hopes that DPS would stop the pursuit and let him go, basically. Another smuggler crashed into a house in the town, 2 occupants in the vehicle. A lot of the times when the smugglers flee, they'll crash. There's been carloads of just 11 bodies flying everywhere. A lot of times they have to call in the helicopter from San Antonio for all of the injuries. EMS director has said that his average call-outs for a year for the Kinney County EMS would be about 250 a year. And in December, he was at 561 calls so far for 2022. And he sees everything. He sees amputated limbs from people jumping off trains and getting run over, snake bites, everything, car wrecks. And he doesn't get paid back. He's down $73,000 at the moment. He sends a bill to Homeland Security and it comes back not eligible. So that's where it ends. The burden is on the county for that. Just one other thing I wanted to mention to finish off is these people that are coming across, whether they give up or they're a got-away, they have to pay the cartel one way or another. And the sheriff said recently they picked up a young woman from Honduras. She was in the brush trying to get away. She was in debt, $5,000 to get from Honduras across the U.S. border to San Antonio. And she had been told that she would be in San Antonio for a while to pay off her $5,000 debt before she was allowed to get to her final destination, which was the East Coast, where she would owe another $5,000. So everyone has to pay when they come across, whether they give up or get away. Some pay more depending on their nationality and the mode of coming across. And I'll hand you over now to...
Thank you, Charlotte. What's the name of the documentary that you're working on?
My working title is The Gotaways, but we haven't decided for sure yet.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.